Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Thursday, the 18th of February, 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here today. Now, I want to talk about, uh, I'm going to tell you, out there, uh, there's so many people who have like shifted from one side of the fence to the other. Used to be everybody was very productive, had their jobs, people were factories were working, people were producing goods and services, and yeah, it wasn't what it could be. Donald Trump came along, and he said, "Let's make America great again," because America wasn't what it used to be. But still, back in 2019, a lot of people had jobs and they're productive. Now what's happened is those people that were on that side of the fence now have went on the other side of the fence just to something that's totally weird, where they're unproductive. They're basically living off a stimmy. They're getting their stimmy checks and everything else, right? And I mean, it's not enough. They're still going in debt, but they're also there. Some of them might have Robinhood accounts, and they're making money a different way. Their house valuations are going up and everything else. But that's not a healthy economy. In a healthy economy, people are productive. These valuations and everything that they're making money off of, stocks are going up, and Bitcoin's going up and everything's going up in price. It's not health in the economy. And so what can happen is we can get a very rapid, sudden downshift, and I've been talking about this for a long time, and I call it a deflationary spike event. And, just like a spike drives in, you can drive it into a board, it goes down in deep and quick. It spikes downwards, you know. But the thing is what goes down has to come back up, especially with the Fed standing in the background watching. If we do get a market crash, a lot of them are talking about an 80% market crash or whatever. You know how much wealth would get wiped out overnight? And already how many people are without work and relying upon their valuations in the stock market, relying upon their valuations in their house equity and everything else, It could wipe out trillions of dollars could be wiped out in a deflationary event like that. So the best thing for the Fed is not to let it fall in the first place, where they got to prop it back up. They're not going to let it go more than 25%. But that's a lot. That's a big correction. I expect that they're going to get very nervous if it falls 20%. Now, we're in the falling right now. How far will it fall? I don't know if this is a big one or not that I've been expecting, but we're falling off today. Going to have to wait and see if it goes back up again, It might be, in other words, it might be a false alarm, but we're keeping our eye very careful on the stock market today that it might be this. It could be the beginning of a deflationary spike event. And, we've had these before. We had a deflationary spike event when the coronavirus first came in, and then they came out with that $2.2 trillion stimulus package. And you see how everything went back up. They would have to do the same thing all over again. Except now, the stock market and everything is in a different position. They've already front run a lot of these stimulus packages and stuff. So what would it take? Because believe me, they're not going to let everything drop by 80 or 90%. That just ain't going to happen. And they're going to step into the breach. And they're going to prevent the system from basically freezing. No other way of putting it. Let's get the charts started. Let's start the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. We're looking at silver price falling because the deflation is today. We're getting some deflationary pressures to the downside on everything. And so we're looking at 41-cent price on decline on silver today. It's at 26.93. Let's take a look at gold here. Gold's going down right now too, and we could see a major slide in gold and silver prices today during this, what's going on with the market going down and everything. Gold's down $6.30 so far, 17.69. Let's take a look at crypto. Crypto, let me refresh the page. It was 1593. Right now it's 1589. That's the billions. It's 1,589,227,000,000. Bitcoin dominance is 61%. Bitcoin price of 51,590. So we're past $50,000, you know. But I told you guys this would happen, that we would pass these enormous price. But you know, Bitcoin is it's a strange. It can fall quicker than anything out there if it does start to fall, because um, Bitcoin is still a speculative investment. It hasn't changed from that. It's still a speculative investment, even though it's trying really hard to become a mainstream place to securely store your money. That's what it's trying to do, you know. And we're going to see if it's going to get there or not. Let's take a look at Dow Jones Industrial Average today. It's off 321 points, and she is falling like a stone today, you know. 31,287 today, and this could be the start of something really big. Now, like I say, could fall by 20 if it falls 20%, and it could. We're going to get a fall off. We'll get a fall off in almost everything. But you know what's causing this? The real cause is the bonds. The bond market. This is the cause of what we're seeing start to happen here. And you know, there's another thing that the Fed's going to have to do. If the stock market does fall like 20% or whatever, they're going to have to step in and do yield curve control. That's going to be their next move. Not so much the STEMI packages and stuff. They already got one of them in the go. Those don't work anymore. That worked last year. But now the market is front run all of that. They're used to that now. They're used to having 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, doesn't matter. Maybe if they did 5 trillion or 10 trillion, that would matter. But they're more or less getting used to that. That medicine ain't working anymore. Now the medicine that they're going to have to use is yield curve control on the long end of the yield curve. That's the next medicine that they're going to use. In other words, they're going to keep those bond prices down. They're going to they're not going to let those bond prices rise. Let's take a look now at crude oil. $60.88. It's down 26 cents on the day so far. So everything's fallen today. Move index is 55.97. We saw that little bounce in the move index yesterday. That was a signal that what's happening today, you know. But guys, here's the big one right here. What's going on right today? We're seeing the long end of the yield curve moving up, starting at the 10-year. The 10-year is 1.3 today, and the 30-year is 2.08. Getting up a little bit. They're warming up. The long end of the yield curve's warming up. It has been for a while now, and this is a huge problem. Because this is a big market. This is a way bigger market than the stock market. This bond market, you know, and it's been in a 30-year bubble. It's more than enough time for this bubble to pop, you know, and bond yields to soar. I mean, the 30-year, the 10-year could go to 20% overnight, and this is why they gotta control it. This is why the Fed. Well, this is their next move right here, is to step in and keep these yields down on the long end of the yield curve. And you know, the second they do that, like say we see a fall off in prices of almost everything. The second that they do that, they announce that they're going to do the long end of the yield curve and yield curve control, we'll see things go back up again. It'll be a change, a sea change in direction of all of these asset classes and stuff. And we'll see, you know, I mean, if you could time it right, if you could know exactly what the Fed's going to do and when they're going to announce what they're going to do and everything else, and then you could really do good. You know, you could buy in like the equities and stuff if you hit the bottom. Very similar to what happened last year. Dow went all the way down to like, I think it was like 17,900 or whatever. And look at those people that bought in right then at the bottom when they did that big stimmy package. They rode it all the way up to where it is now, from way down around 17.9 or 17.8 in just a year. They did rather well, you know. Now let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index today. Dollar index is went down to 90.58. Now it's starting to make its way back up again at 90.79 today on the U.S. dollar index. So we got a lot of stuff happening in the world. Texas today is a total mess. I understand their nuclear reactor shut down because it wasn't winterized. Those son of a guns, nuclear reactors I'm talking about. Why they like them so much is they produce so much power. One nuclear reactor. I think you'd have to have like 4 coal-fired plants to equal 1 nuclear plant. I mean, they produce so much power. Oh man, it's tremendous the amount of power that comes off of a nuclear plant, you know. And if their nuclear reactor's down, I can understand why there's blackouts everywhere. Just not enough power to support the grid because it wasn't winterized, is what I heard, you know. But it's a tremendous area in Texas, and they're saying that some areas are starting to look like a third world, you know. I don't know. It must be difficult for the police to maintain control. They would be stretched so thin over such wide areas with so many people that are affected, you know. And I heard 30 people have died so far. They're having problems with carbon monoxide. What people are actually doing is they're lighting up propane stoves and stuff inside their house without proper ventilation, you know. And some of these things that they're using are not meant to be used indoors. But they're cold, you know, and you can't smell carbon monoxide. You can't see it. You have to be very careful of carbon monoxide. You know, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people just go over and turn their stove on or whatever, you know, if they got a propane stove or whatever. And they've done that a lot of times, you know, and they think, hey, you know, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's not fine to run it all night with all 4 burners running and the oven running. You know, it's just a propane stove inside your house with all the windows shut up. That's not fine. It's not fine. You know, for you people out there, you got to watch out for things like that. You can't. Carbon monoxide's a sneaky killer. You know, you go to bed and you go to sleep, and it can kill you while you're sleeping. So you got to keep those windows cracked, for one thing, and don't run things like that inside your house, even if you're cold. You know, bundle up or something, because you're better off if you're a little bit cold or chilly. You're better off than if you're done in with carbon monoxide. Especially if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, you know, and some people might be listening in Texas right now on their cell phone, you know, and you want to be very careful with it because you can't smell it. It can be in the air, and it's very, very dangerous. So be very careful if you're thinking about heating indoors, and it's combustion type heat. Now, an electric heater like a space heater that plugs into your wall won't run right now because unless you got a generator. And if you got a generator, don't start it up inside the house. Put it outside and run the extension cord inside your house and leave the generator outside so the exhaust will go outside. And people, I mean, something as simple as that. You think, Glenn, hey, you don't need to tell them that. Yes, you do. Because some of these people that are being affected right now never had to do things like this before to try to be warm. They always just go in their house and turn their heat pump on, you know? But now they can't. And so they're trying things to get warm, you know? And you gotta, if you got a generator, run it outside so the exhaust goes outside and run an extension cord inside and then use your space heater. That's okay, you know, the space heaters are okay. the ones that have the little element and they heat up from electricity, that's okay. No carbon monoxide there. Where the ones that have carbon monoxide are the ones that rely upon combustion. So your kitchen stove with burners on it, if it's a propane stove, that's combustion. You need to crack a window open even for that, you know. But as far as some of these other heaters and stuff like that run on combustion, don't run them inside your house with the windows all closed up, or you're gonna be in big problems. Don't do that. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next show. Bye bye.